XILONEN is must pull? Yes, the video is over. Very good gamers, how are we? This is Games and Chill, and we are in a new video, Nostalgia Stamp. Listen to the intro again, so enjoy it. In XILONEN is must pull. Well, the reality is, we all know you do. The content creators of Joyover, i.e. there are already a lot of videos of XILONEN all over YouTube, watching a lot of gameplays and pretty resolution tests with a very interesting final conclusion, though always disclaimer. You can change before the character comes out in the game, and I think we're up to saying it's not just must pull. But it can become one of the best characters in the game, but the best. And today I would say that XILONEN is... he's a character who's going to break the goal. He's going to fit into all the teams. It's going to improve all of the above, and it can be a game blackmailer. That is, it can be a character that you're not just going to regret. If for some reason you decide to skip it for free to power and you don't have protobenas. By design, by pride, by pressure to listen to all this, to say that a character is good or for whatever reason it is not. This is the character you will regret the most throughout your stay in Genshin, if you don't take it out on. So leave a good like, a good ulti of Bennett. Subscribe, leave a good comment for the algorithm. Thanks for enjoying and watching video and channel. I help a lot, recommends and positions the video. Thanks for all the love and support. The channel and the team is eternally grateful to you. This is the moment when you give like and subscribe to bell and put in the comments XILONEN for the algorithm. Tiny,
What?
The fill. And we're going with XILONEN. He's must pull, although we already know he is. XILONEN does three things mainly. In this video, I'm not going to explain how we say the XILONEN kit as in the video. Spoken, and it greatly differentiates what XILONEN could do, even from Kazuha. It is not a comparison either with Kazuha, but let's also talk so that you understand this of all that could bring us at the same time in comparison with the best characters in the game, who are Furina, Kazuha, and Nahida, specifically talking about teams inside. Well, a lot of people have pulled out weapons and network toxicity, and a lot of comments claiming. I imagine because they are very fond of Kazuha, that Kazuha will continue to be better because she meets. And now, that's an argument that there is because for the rest they can't contest it, right? And the reality is that I think you all know that Kazuha and the theme of getting together is very good, and it is the one who best does it, above Venti. But the chasms increasingly make us gigantic enemies, bosses of the world, Fatui with shield. Local leggings and lots of combinations of enemies that you can't put together. There's a hermit that while she's got the pet, you can't put it together or move it. There's a guardian of the ruins. There's the eternal machinery. There's the chocobo that's a boss, and you can't put it together either. The green chocobo. There is the green Snorlax, i.e. the East Yunkasaur King, who is also a green chubby. You can't put it together or move it either. The Fatui's local shield legends on the 12, one prime can't move them either. The reality is that the theme of gathering enemies into the abyss each day serves less and more to put enemies into us. In corrosion, that we, one Shoten, that make us reactions with our own equipment, and the heating that has XILONEN is 1,000 times today, and this can change. But in the current goal, healing is more important than bringing together. That's the first thing. Let's talk about other than heating, which is very important both to activate Furina charges and literally fix the heating slot on a team, although there are double heating equipment such as the Shippa Shilhena Furina. Bennett, who will be the best team in the game of Nevia and Geo, I point out because now there are better teams in Genshin Impact. But Navia and Geo will be the best, because for example there you carry double heating Bennett, and you take Shilhin, or for example, some team of downers where you also want to wear a combination, for example, a team of gaming Cheyenne Yun Furina. Bennett, and you're wearing a double heating of Cheyenne Yun and Bennett. Of heating in a team as for example in the Nouvellette Furina Kazuha Shilna, that if it is activated because it activates 2 loads. Hydro for the 3 Marquitas, which activates all passives, already gives you a brutal core, and this, again, is an advantage. Incredible, and gives it much more travel and useful life than for example a Kazuha or other buffers that cannot be the position of E. Now we're going with the other 2 great motives that have Shil need to be must pull, because a lot of people. Let's talk about the Buffado elementary year of the set, but not explain it in depth as if it were the kit. But really understand it and explain one thing that not many people have talked about in general, but that we just gave ourselves. Now has all the betas there are of the creators of the closed beta before the character comes out. While many characters, and we speak concretely now of the Kazuha bonus or other bonuses of other buffers as well. Play lasts in case of Kazuha 8 seconds and other buffers last 12 or 15 seconds. The elementary year bonuses and usually give you. Kazuha specifically gives you 40. If you have C2, gives you 48. And buffers can give you 20 to 30% bonus elemental damage to the team with some kind of extra buffo such as Faruzan that gives bonus damage anemo to the team. XILONEN is going to give you 40% elementary air for the set for 20 seconds, but it can give you bonus elemental damage to 3 elements or up to 4 different on the same team because the set tells you that if the character can go into blessing. Noctambula is to say this set will only activate the support NATLAN obviously like Kachina or Shilhen and makes a reaction. It's going to buff rate this elementary year to the elements of the reaction with which in the case of Shilne, if you make a crystallized Hydro and a crystallized Pyro, you're buffando the Geo itself because it's involved in the reaction, the Hydro and the Pyro, and you're getting into it. This elemental damage to 3 characters unlike most of the game's uploads as Shenge, as Faruzan, or as Kazuha. That can only in the case of Faruzan Shenge 1 element and in the case of Kazuha to 2 Shilhen gives the Bufo to 3 is. We'd say it's one of the best buffers in the game, in my opinion the second best buffer in the game, because the first, it's Urina who gives you elemental damage to the whole team and elementary year. Forgiveness gives you harm inflicted, and can give you up to 100% of year inflicted on all equipment with which this is superior to Shilne than would Shilne. And then, Katsuha would go with which this difference to take into account, because it can mean a damage by rotation much greater than so many other buffers before, and let's talk about the other reason because I told you there were 2 resistances down the same. You don't have to explain anything more. Shilhen is an incredible thing because the downfall of resistances you can apply to 3 elements. The reality of this is that there is only one Archon that does something the same or higher. That would be Nahida because Nahida with R. The C2 what it does is eliminate 30% of the defenses. That is a different stat like Fiorina for example to enemies, but specifically affected by the reaction inside Nahida with Electro, which is the quicken, the acceleration that then gives us Esprit. And aggravate, that is the reaction of Electro and inside on the quicken or on the acceleration then again can be Thief. Better or the second best resistance, buffer or defense of the whole game because Kazuha with the green shadow cannot lower the resistance to 3 elements because it can make it maximum double whirlwind but not triple. There is some rotation very rare then exploit the mechanics and do a strange thing, but if you do it naturally you can not only lower resistances 36% 15 seconds unlike the green shadow which is 40%, but only 10 seconds with which is less damage by total rotation. And not only that, but you can do it to 3 elements and then to finish, there are many broken C2, like Nahida C2 with Awao. The defense I'm talking about if it's born 0, that could again be considered the best or the second best buffer of Awao. The whole game bringing together the Gillen theme and also the theme of being the second best buffer of the whole game after Fiorina. C2 I'm talking about, if I zero it with all this as your famous C2, I'll make a video apart from the C2, possibly try it, and the video is after it comes out if you don't, because this is much more interesting, but C2 Lee is going to give the characters that match the element of the elemental change of the passive. Another meaningless Bufo is going to give 45% of life to the Hydros. To play with Mualani or Novilette or Fiorina herself or Yellen herself, and this can leave us as a mother because once they weather the critical ratio by giving you more lives and giving you the stat that's going to multiply the damage the most. That is the C2 Bufo. If it is from the underworld, it is stronger, and that of an Archon will give you 45% attack to the Pyros, as for example in Arlecchino. Carry a Liney, carry with Evnan and other combinations like a Sianglin that will take advantage of the attack in a spectacular way. It's going to give you the character's Geo 50% damage inflicted. Imagine Navia with, if it's non-C2 Fiorina Bennett, that team from Navia. With if you non-C2 will surely now go from being top 8, top 7 in its best conditions, to entering the top 5 best teams. Just in case you and the Cryo will also give you more Bufos and such, but they are not so interesting and the Primaphoras do not. I think you'll get so much better with if we don't see it, but the C2 is also going to give you Electros. It's going to generate you 20 of energy extra, and it's going to reduce your cooldowns by 6 seconds so that once again the Raiden hypercarry of your life with your Raiden C3. Gunzara Chinks. if you and Bennett, that you will have their Pyro and Electro to activate the Bufos, if they will give you the best Raiden. Hyper carry of the game if none is a Bufo to Raiden another, and surely the hyper carry of if none C2 also enters the top 6. A thing like that of top 5 best teams, so I'm really scared if I definitely if I none. Not only is it more impulsive, if it is none going to enter the top 3, 2 or 1 best characters of the game, is a goal breaker, is a game blackmailer, is the character that you will regret the most, literally not throwing into your account or Skyping for whatever reason it is, that reason will not be enough to skip it. And especially if later Joyovers decides not to come back, if it over half a year, a lot of literal people are going to be waiting for that half year, biting their nails to come back or knowing. When there's a minimum leak of whether or not to see if before NATLAN leaves, the Geocat returns a little bit more if you don't. More pull. And if you have a choice, if above all you have lost it, you have proto gamers to remember there is a current draw of, if none, for whoever for whatever reason does not enter into their plans, or for whatever reason, so here it is on screen to go running to this video, explode it, and especially watch it until the end to do everything right, because if you didn't see it until the end, surely you lose something concrete, so you can do things right and participate in little more. XILONEN, for algorithms taken care of a lot and by.